What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Jenks Hammer podcast. I'm your host, Grayson Jenkins. And as you can see again, Hammer's not with me this week. And in today's episode, I'll be recording and talking about my NFL prediction for this 2024 season. That includes the NFL awards as well as NFL standings for this upcoming season. I'm excited to get right into it. We kind of gave our predictions a few months ago, long time. We did NFL tiers as well as just kind of a early standings prediction, but both of those have come and gone. Now it's time to get into the nitty gritty and dive into what teams I think will make the playoffs from the NFC and the AFC, as well as what players I think are going to exceed their expectations and win some NFL awards. Before I get into this episode, a quick note. We are doing an ESPN group pick'em league that we'd love for you guys to join. The winner will be getting an NFL jersey. We did a fantasy league last year. We're doing a pick'em league this year to get more of you guys involved. Just click the link down below. It'll be into our Discord server, and then you can join the pick'em league from there. We're excited to have you guys in it. Let's get right into the episodes. So getting right into it, first of all, we're going to break down each division and each standing group. So I'll start off with the AFC. Just to get right into it. In the AFC East, this is a competitive division, except for obviously the Patriots here. The three teams that are going to be competing are obviously the Jets, Bills, and Dolphins. Sorry, and it's kind of a decision of which quarterback's going to play the best, right? As well as the rosters around them. So Aaron Rodgers coming back from an obvious injury, week 1, game 1, first drive for the Jets. He comes out, tears his Achilles, awful injury. And everyone's shocked, and the Jets they're burning their hopes go down in flames like they have for the last however many years. The Bills have a successful season that burns out in the playoffs like it always has for the last few years. And then the Dolphins, they cannot get anything done in the playoffs unless it's 100 degrees and sunny in Miami. They get to the playoffs, it's cold, slight wind, slight breeze on Tua's neck, and the guy's done. Can't throw the football. So in the regular season, this is a tough division to predict because all three of these teams are going to be solid this season. And here's what I came down with. Number 1, I got the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, I think there's going to be a good connection there. And that defense is going to be very solid as usual. So I think the Jets come out on number 1 on top. In the second place, I got the Bills. I think Josh Allen is going to ball out this year. I think he's going to put the team on his back. And I mean, he did it last year as well. He accounted for over 75% of their touchdowns. So he put the team on their back. Put the team on his back last year. He's going to do it again this year. I'm excited to see what happens there. But I think Keon Coleman and him are going to form a very special connection as well. And then I think the defense is going to be underrated. I think the defense going into the season is underrated, but I think it'll be playable enough and decent enough for the Josh Allen to carry that team to the second place in that division. And then I got the Dolphins in third. So the Dolphins, as usual, I mean, they have a great offense. McDaniel knows how to coach the team, and they scheme up that offense so well with the motions, which you've seen a lot of teams adapt and add to their offenses as well. The little cheat motion where Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, one of their speedy guys on their team, will come across in the formation, and as the play snapped, slightly kind of turn upfield, and it gives them that much of a advantage over the defense. And I think as these other teams adjust to that, they kind of can account for that more when they're playing the Dolphins this season. So I think the Dolphins come in third. Not a bad spot to be in, but I think they come in third in this division and miss out on the playoffs this season. Next division, we got the AFC North. Starting off, I'll say this division is more competitive than the last. And the last division is one of the most competitive divisions in the league. So this division, all 4 teams going into the season have a shot at the playoffs. Obviously, I think we all see the Steelers with their Justin Fields and Russell Wilson quarterback debate over the last few weeks. Obviously, Russell Wilson's the starter starting off the season. We'll see how that plays out through the rest of the season. But I think you just get into the season and it's, yes, you have a good defense. You have a solid offense, nothing crazy. But I don't think they improved enough to make the playoffs this season. And I think they finished last in their division. Next, so I'll go top to bottom. Steelers are the bottom, though, so I already said that. Number 1, I got the Ravens. And when we did our predictions and NFL tiers, everything like that, way earlier in the offseason, I had the Ravens as the number 1 team or one of the top 3 teams in the league because I truly believe in what they're doing over there. They have a great defense still. Their offense is only improving. And I think Zay Flowers has a breakout year. I mean, Derrick Henry's there as well. And now if you get to the end zone or the red zone, you get to within the 5-yard line, you have to go to RPO with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. What are you doing there? And you can worry about Zay Flowers running a slant, a whip, something like that, where you have an RPO to Derrick Henry. He either hands it off inside. Lamar Jackson, you got the defensive end looking for Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson keeps it, runs out to the right. All the linebackers, corner sees that. They jump up. Zay Flowers or Mark Andrews or another weapon on the offensive side is open. Lamar can throw it. So I think that's a tough combination to cover, especially in the red zone. So I think the Ravens come out on top in this division. Second place, I got the Bengals. Obviously, they have an interesting situation with Jamar Chase right now. He wants an extension. He has 2 years left on his contract. So it's like, dude, you have 2 years left. Play out this year. Maybe you get an extension next year when you have only 1 year left on your contract. That's a little bit more reasonable. But when you have 2 years left, it's just a little bit ridiculous. He's coming into the training camp. It's street clothes. Like, dude, you're getting paid millions of dollars to play receiver. Yes, these other guys are getting paid. That'll be you next year. Worry about it next year when you have only a year left on your contract versus with 2. I just think it's I don't like it. I'm not a fan. T. Higgins is there as well. I think they have a solid team. Their tight end group is a little lacking. Mike Gesicki, obviously, I'm interested to see what he does. I put him in our sleepers episode. I said that he is a sleeper to possibly be a big tight end in fantasy. I think Joe Burrow coming back is going to be a huge boost for that team, and I see them finishing second in the division. I have them right now as 11-6 record. Nothing great, but a solid record to get into the playoffs. My third team in this division, obviously the only team remaining, is the Browns. I think they start off a little bit slow with Deshaun Watson coming back from injury and not playing at all in the preseason. I'm interested to see if during the season, if Jameis Winston gets thawed out and gets brought out on the field instead of Deshaun Watson, depending on Deshaun's performance. But I think Jameis Winston, Deshaun Watson, and Nick Chubb possibly if he comes back. But this defense is going to be carrying them most of their games. I have them finishing in third in the division and squeaking into the last playoff spot, which I'll talk about in a little bit after all these standings. Next, we got the AFC South. And I think this division is going to be a little bit of a burning pile of dog shit this year. I think sorry, not the Chiefs. The AFC South, the Texans come out on top. That's the obvious pick for me. I think CJ Stroud, D'Amico Ryans, they have something brewing down there. They just got Stephon Diggs. Their defense is getting better. They have a solid offense. And I think that connection with Cade Stover that CJ Stroud's bringing over from college is going to be a little bit special after a couple years in the next few years, but not to get ahead of ourselves. Anyways, I think Texas finished on top in the AFC South. Second place is going to be the Colts. I think the Colts will have an average team this year, mid. I think Anthony Richardson is going to be, he's going to have some games where he just balls the hell out, and other games where we saw in the preseason where he had one drive, drove down the field with ease. Second drive, you saw him just kind of flat-footed, not aiming at his target, throw the ball, pick six. And you just see in his footwork, things like that just need to be polished up a little bit. He's relying too much on his talent still and not the fundamentals. And I think that'll cost them a couple of games. So 9-8 is where I have the Colts right now. It's not terrible, not great, but second place in the division. Third place, I have the Jaguars. And this is a team that, the Jaguars, yes, they have talent, right? But they lost a couple guys during the offseason. And I think Trevor Lawrence, we have still yet to see what we expected from him when he got to the NFL. And I think he has an average year again. He's had 4,000-yard passing seasons. He has, but he hasn't led them to a playoff success like we've expected. And I think this year, the AFC is tough. The AFC is an extremely competitive conference, and it's tough to just be an excellent team without an excellent quarterback. You have a decent, solid quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is solid to good. He's in that range. We did quarterback tiers, and I put him kind of in the middle. He's a solid to good quarterback, but everything around him isn't going to carry them in this AFC South or the AFC in general. So they're third in the division. And fourth, finishing one game behind the Jaguars in my prediction, it's going to be the Tennessee Titans. And I think this is a team that's going to be solid, right? But due to the AFC competition, you just kind of fall short. You fall short, but you still succeed in what you want to do. And that's Will Levis is going to have a solid season this year. Learn a little bit more of what it's like to be an NFL quarterback. And then next year, you're kind of making an additional leap after the season. You're getting into that second seed or the second spot in the AFC South or something like that. I could see them making that leap next year. Not this year though. They finished 4th, and I have them going 6-11. But with these rough predictions, you never know. It's kind of tough before seeing the week 1 product, week 2 product to make these whole season projections. So it could be all over the place. Finally, the AFC West, the conference of the 2-time repeating AFC and NFL champions, the Chiefs. The Chiefs are obviously going to finish the top of the division. I got them going 14-3 this season, winning the division, and then we'll see where they do in the playoffs. Second, I got the Raiders, who I think they were going to fight for their team. They love their team. Like, you could see the passion the Raiders have, except for Devontae Adams. Obviously, that he's just in a crappy situation. I feel bad for the guy. Gardner Minshew's going to lead that team to some victories where it's like, wow, Gardner Minshew's actually a solid quarterback. He does it every year. He's a solid quarterback in some games. Next game, he's just mid, not very great. And I think that leads to like a 7-10 record in the AFC. That's what they get to. I have them splitting games with the Chiefs. I think they always kind of spoil the Chiefs a little bit in at least one game of their 2-game battles. So I think they're going to go second in the division, 7-10 record. Don't mind it. Next, you got the Broncos coming in third in the division, and I think that's just growing pains with Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Obviously, they're going to get it together in the next few years. I think Bo Nix is a solid quarterback, and I have him as a sleeper for the Offensive Rookie of the Year just because his success is just purely based off of his chemistry with Sean Payton, and if he can click within this offense that Sean's building for him this current season. But it might take him a season or two to fully succeed in the NFL. So I have him at third in the division for now. And finally, in fourth in the division, basically just because I don't see their offense being anything crazy. Justin Herbert, yes, he's a very extremely talented quarterback. I would say he's top 5 talent-wise in the NFL. But the guy has nothing around him. Yes, you added Ladd McConkey, but Quentin Johnston as your number 1 or 2 receiver is not what you want. Yes, you got Joe Alt in the draft. Yes, you have a little bit better protection for him, but that's not saving your dreams as a team for this season. So I have them going fourth in division, but maybe over the next few years, as they keep adding picks and Harbaugh keeps coaching the team up, that's when they turn into a playoff team in the future. So with that, the AFC is set. I'll break down our playoff seeds real quick. Number 1, we got the Ravens. Number 2, Chiefs. 3, Texans. 4, Jets. 5, the Buffalo Bills. 6, the Bengals. And 7, the Cleveland Browns, finishing out the AFC playoff seedings for me. And I think it's a solid bracket. I think all of these teams are going to be competitive the whole season. It's going to be relatively close. I got the Ravens kind of just dominating the whole season. The Chiefs dominating the whole season. The Texans and Jets and Bills all going to be close. And then the Bengals and Browns are going to be battling for those last 2 spots throughout the whole season. So I'm excited for it. Let's take a quick break, and then I'll get into the NFC side of the standings right after the break. All right, guys, getting right into the NFC standings predictions for the 2024 NFL season. Starting off, I got the NFC East, and this is a very tough conference. Obviously, you got the Eagles, Cowboys, and a surprising team that I think will do a little bit of surprising things this season, the Commanders. And then a team that's pure dog shit, you got the Giants. We put them in the whale poop tier this season, or this tier rankings way back when. And this division is going to be tough between the top 2 teams, and then that second 2. There's an obvious order, but here we go. The Eagles are going to come out on top. I have them as the top NFC team this season. I think their defense is going to ball out. I love their draft, as well as just that offense. You know, it proved with Saquon Barkley, the offensive line. Yes, it did lose a little bit with Jason Kelsey leaving, but I think it's still going to be a solid enough offense for Jalen Hurts in the running game to succeed. So I have them going as the number 1 seed in the NFC and obviously winning the NFC East. The second team in the NFC East, I got the Dallas Cowboys. I have them going solid throughout the year, losing a couple games just to kind of lose them that division. Obviously, Dak Prescott is a gamer within the regular season and in the playoffs. That's when it kind of turns to shit. So we'll see what he does in the regular season this year. I think him and CD are going to have another great year. Jake Ferguson's on the uprise. It's up to those running back room of Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott. That, wow, 2019, you tell me they have that? I'd be like, whoo, you got to watch out. But Zeke and Dalvin Cook in 2024, that's not scary anymore. It's not. So I just think they'll have a solid running game with their offensive line, but nothing crazy. So I think them going second in the division is a solid prediction. Third, I got the Washington Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels is going to surprise a lot of people this year. He was slept on, overhated throughout the draft process. I had him as, obviously, I think everyone had him as the number 2 quarterback, but everyone's saying that the drop off between him and Caleb Williams is so extreme. But I think in the NFL environment, you put him in a solid environment where he can succeed with good receivers, which they have. Obviously, they kind of got rid of Jahan Dotson, which was a little bit surprising, but apparently he's losing out that battle. De'Ami Brown. And De'Ami takes the lead as that receiver too. And now you got Ben Sinnott as well. I think Ben Sinnott will be solid. And I have talked about that in our sleepers episode just a second ago. I mean, I just think that this offense can have the chance to succeed with Robert Quinn as the head coach. Your defense is going to be solid. They have a solid defensive line already, solid everything else around it, except for Emmanuel Forbes, who's already was like on the verge of getting cut in his second year as a first round pick. He's not going to start, but I just think that's hilarious. I always bring up Emmanuel Forbes when I'm talking about the Commanders. And then finally, I got the Giants, who I have them going either 0-17, 1-16, something like that. I do not have any faith in them at all. The defense, yeah, solid. Brian Burns is there now. Great. Whoop-de-doo. You got Daniel Jones as your quarterback, the worst starter in the league, below the rookie quarterbacks I've talked about so far. He's below them for me. The guy threw, 3 picks in a preseason game? And one of them was just the most boneheaded play you'd ever see a starting quarterback make. So maybe if they switch to Tommy DeVito mid-season, maybe I give him a little bit of faith. Malik Neighbors just came out with number 1, the first retired jersey in the NFL history. They unretire for Malik Neighbors, so they have a lot of faith in him. I'm interested to see what they do next year after they get the number 1 overall pick. So who they draft could change their future immensely. Now getting into the NFC North, this one is going to have a little bit of surprises. So the NFC North is the most, I would say it's the most competitive division in this conference. I think they just, the Lions, the Packers, and the Bears. Oh my. I think the Packers come out on top, and that's the biggest surprise here. A lot of people are going to be gasping, not the Lions? What about the Lions? They're the defending NFC championship contender. They're the defending NFC North champ. But I think the Packers have something brewing over there. Hammer and I went to Packers training camp. I witnessed it firsthand. I think the Packers have a solid defense. Their offense has an insane receiver room that gets slept on for no reason. Luke Musgrave is a great tight end. And the running back room with Josh Jacobs there as well. And Marshawn Lloyd, who's going to be a very solid rookie running back, could be a great double-headed monster. So I think the Packers come in first, and it's by tiebreaker. They're both 12-5. I don't think I see them having more wins than the Lions, or the Lions having more losses than them. I think it's a tiebreaker that'll be decided in that second game that they play late into the season. So obviously second place, that means that the Lions come in second. They have a great team, great coach. Dan Campbell is always going to be fighting for that team no matter what. If they lose 10 games this year, Dan Campbell's still going to be right there supporting the team, winning over the mentality of the whole team itself. And I love that. He's always going to support the guys and the team. The team believes in him, and they're always going to fight for one another. And that leads to success in the NFL. It does. You look at it, the Saints, I've been a witness, have had it seems like a little bit of a divide between the coach, the team, and it sucks. The fan base loses focus. The team loses focus. It just sucks. You see the product. But I think the Lions have a great team. Jared Goff coming out, building more chemistry with that offense. I think they have a successful season, 12-5. Nothing else to say. Then coming in third, Caleb Williams and the Bears come in third place in the NFC North with a 10-7 record, which is going to surprise a lot of people. I think Caleb Williams has the best opportunity a rookie has had as an NFL quarterback in a long, long time. He has a team built around him perfectly. You have a solid offensive line, a great receiver room with the mentor, the past, the present, and the future. That's what you got. You got Keenan Allen, who's the past, who is mentoring these guys. The present, DJ Moore, a star currently. And then Rome Odunze, who will be a star in the making in the next few seasons. So that is a great receiver room for yourself. Then you add DeAndre Swift. That's a good running back for their scheme. That's a good running back. And Khalil Herbert as the RB2. That's a double-headed monster. Might not be the best double-headed monster you've ever seen, but for a rookie quarterback, that's damn good. And their defense, don't even get me started on the defense, was great last year. It's going to be great again this year. A lot of success is coming Caleb Williams and the Bears' way. They finished 10-7. Finally, I got the Vikings skull to 2-15 record. I don't see them doing very much. I'm not very passionate about the Vikings. Obviously, JJ McCarthy's there. He might have success in the future. But right now, Sam Darnold's the starting quarterback. That could change throughout the season. We don't know. I don't know. This prediction is based off of right now, what I do know. Like Sam Darnold, yes, you have Justin Jefferson. Yes, you have TJ Hawkinson, but he's out for half the season at least, most likely. Running back, you got Aaron Jones, solid. But I think he's kind of on the same path as Alvin Kamara, slowly losing a step. But Alvin Kamara still got it. Not hating on you, Alvin. Love you. Anyways, I just think that the Vikings are going to be solid as like a 2-15 team. They're a solid 2-15 team. That's just how it works. And with the NFC the way it is, I don't see them doing anything crazy. All the bottom dweller teams in all the divisions, I just have them sucking. But I can't say enough. Like, it comes down to just a poor situation for them. They lose on Kirk Cousins. JJ McCarthy's still developing, so it's not really their year with their quarterback that they want. This is a development year. Then next year, maybe they take that leap with him. But right now, you just got to feed the ball to Justin Jefferson. Get Jordan Addison back after suspension, injury, whatever. And then you just ball out whatever you can. But I think they go 2-15. Maybe they get up to 5 wins. That's about the max I see them doing. Next, you got my division, the NFC South. And this is something that I love talking about because the NFC South is always going to NFC South. It's always going to have fun, chaotic madness every single season. And starting off on top, I got the New Orleans Saints at 11-6. New Orleans Saints, I'm sticking with my gut. I made the prediction when the season's schedule came out, 11-6. That was my prediction. Yes, it's bold. Yes, it's a little bit delusional. There's a little bit of delusion in there. But that's what comes with being a Saints fan. Kurt Benkert, whatever you are, I hate you for everything you've said about the Saints fans over this offseason. But he's a little bit right. There are some Saints fans that are delusional. I'm included in that. Do I think we're winning the Super Bowl? No. We are not. I just don't think we can. Will I hope that we're winning the Super Bowl? Yes. God damn, I'll be there every single week. Saints are going to the Super Bowl. Saints are going to the Super Bowl. But do I believe that? No, not really. I think the Saints. One second. I think the Saints are a solid team. They are. Derek Carr needs to step up. I think Clint Kubiak's going to build an offense perfect for him with the play action and motion to succeed. They come out with 11-6 record. Their defense is DA is a head coach. Let me just say this real quick. DA is a head coach, not great. DA is a defensive coordinator and a defensive backs coach, one of the best in the league. Easily. He could coach up anyone. You throw anyone at DB, he coaches them up. They do great performances, and they lock down players. That's all you want to see. That's all you need. And at defense, if the defense can keep teams to less than 21 points week in, week out, the Saints can finish 11-6, and that's why I have them there. Second, I got the Atlanta Falcons at 10-7. The Atlanta Falcons come out. They got hype. They got Kirk Cousins. Woo! Whatever. I don't care. Kirk Cousins, for those watching, you can see kind of how I'm doing this, but Derek Carr is here. He's at the mid-range quarterback. Then you got Kirk Cousins, mid-range quarterback +2. Just slightly better, but has Justin Jefferson the last few years, obviously going to improve. Like, you're going to be a good quarterback when you have Justin Jefferson, the best receiver in the league. So I'm not going to say that a guy coming off an Achilles tear is going to come into this Atlanta Falcons offense and ball out. I don't see that happening. He might be solid, but they're not going to ball out, do anything extreme. I've been hearing it the last few years that they're going to do crazy things, and they're not. They're the Atlanta Falcons for a reason. They're going to come in second in the division and miss out on the playoffs. Oh, I love it. Who dat? Falcons, you suck. Anyways, moving on from my bias a little bit here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers come in third in the division. I think Baker Mayfield is a solid quarterback for them. He is. He got the extension, and he deserved it. But I think every single time you see Baker Mayfield succeed, he kind of takes a little bit of a step back. the next season. And I think that'll happen here. They finished third in the division, nothing crazy, but I think that's kind of where they end up. Just third in the division with a solid mid team. That's what's going to happen. And finally, in fourth, you got the Panthers. Obviously, the Panthers are in a tough spot. Bryce Young is still developing. Will he take a leap this year? He could. I don't think he will. He could, but I think next year is where he kind of takes that leap, because I think next year they have a good draft pick with his fourth spot in the division. They get a good draft pick, and they can succeed with that draft pick in the future, which could be Travis Hunter. But I think Travis Hunter goes earlier. We'll see how that works out. He just balled out. He had 3 touchdowns in the game against North Dakota State. It was ridiculous. Great performance. And he played defense in the same game. It was nuts. The guy is going to be a top 5 pick for sure. Anyways, getting to the final division in the NFC, the second most competitive division, the NFC West. Number 1, I got the 49ers. Easy pick here. Brandon Ayuk just finally signed his deal. I want to say it was a 4-year, 103rd. Let me double check. 120 mil, 4-year extension. So 30 million a year. Basically where all these top guys are getting. He's kind of right in the middle of it. And it makes sense. Brandon Ayuk is going to be a solid receiver. And I think it's the perfect spot for Brock Purdy right now. You get Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. The last few years for Christian McCaffrey probably coming up. Deebo Samuel's probably on his way out in the next few years. But this is kind of that peak time for the 49ers to come out and have a shot at the Super Bowl. They got to succeed whatever they did last year, do better than that, and beat the Chiefs, Ravens, whoever comes out of the NFC. We'll see if they can do it. I don't know if it happens, but they might be able to. We'll see. Next, you got the Los Angeles Rams coming in second in the division. I think they're a solid team, right? They are. I think Matt Stafford, anytime you have Matt Stafford, you have a shot at success. They have a solid receiver group. You lose Aaron Donald, though. That takes you down a step on defense, but they're still going to be solid. I got them going 10-7, which is a little bit high than a lot of people expect. But I just think Matthew Stafford in that receiving room, as well as the running back room, the double-headed monster in Kyren Williams and Blake Corum, I think that's a solid offense. I think they go 10-7. Next, you got the Cardinals, Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. That's going to be an impressive duo to watch this season. But I don't think it's an instant success. I think they go 6-11, 7-10, 8-9, somewhere in that range this year, where it's like they're mid, they improved from last season, but they're not a great team. That's kind of where I see them this year. Next, you got the Seahawks, fourth in division. A lot of people are going to be surprised by that. I'm not a Geno Smith guy. I don't think Geno Smith is good. I think he's going to take a step down again this season. And I don't love it. Mike McDonald's over there as a new head coach. Their defense is going to be solid. Yes. Offense is going to be good enough, in my opinion, to win them games. I'm going to go below the Cardinals, wherever mid-range they are, and just like 1 or 2 games below. So that's kind of my prediction there. For the NFC playoffs, I got the Eagles coming in at number 1, 49ers coming in at number 2, Packers at number 3, Saints at number 4, Cowboys at number 5, Lions at number 6, and Bears at number 7. Taking that final spot, Caleb Williams leads the Bears to a playoff season. The hell would be frozen over. Pigs will be flying in Chicago, be crazy. But I will take this note. Everyone's going to be hating on the Saints at number 4. Saints are going to have that second worst record in the playoffs there in the NFC, just above the Bears. So don't hate on me. It's just purely off of seedings, how the seedings work in the NFL. So that'll do it for my NFC and AFC standing predictions. I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll get right into my award predictions for the NFL season right after this. All right, guys, getting into the final segment of the episode, a quick rundown of my NFL award predictions. Starting off, we got MVP. I talked about it a little bit in my standing prediction for the Buffalo Bills. I think Josh Allen puts the team on his back and wins the MVP. Yes, they don't finish number 1 in the conference. They don't finish number 2 in the conference, or even number 3. But with a 12-5 record and Josh Allen putting the team on his back yet again, I think he has an impressive enough performance for him to be MVP. I think Lamar Jackson is the runner-up. I think they're going to dominate this whole season, but you get Derrick Henry, and I think you kind of improve a little bit enough where he's going to be getting a lot more running touchdowns, right? Derrick Henry's going to be stealing those goal line touches and touchdowns from Lamar Jackson, even though he hasn't had a lot of rushing touchdowns the last couple of seasons. But I think that Josh Allen wins MVP. Anyways, getting into offensive player of the year, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. I got 2 NFC players up for contention here. I got CeeDee Lamb as the number 1 pick for offensive player of the year. I think CeeDee Lamb comes out, this new contract just balls out. He did last year. I think he does it again. Second, I got Saquon Barkley. And the reason I got Saquon Barkley here is the number 1 NFC team, the Eagles. You have a solid running season as a top running back on that team. You're going to be in contention for that. And I think Saquon's going to ball out with this offensive line this season. And with the RPOs that they do in the Eagles offense, everything like that, I think Saquon's going to have a great season. I think he's going to be in contention as well. Then defensive player of the year, I got TJ Watt, lone soldier. He's winning it 100% in my opinion. I just see his balls out yet again. Keeps the Steelers in a lot of games purely by himself. I'm so excited to watch TJ Watt. Next, for offensive rookie of the year, there's 2 obvious picks here. It's going to be Caleb Williams, number 1. I talked about him leading the Bears to the playoffs. If he does that, he's offensive player of the year or rookie of the year. It happens. It's just how it works in the NFL. Second, I got Jaden Daniels. I think he has an impressive season. I think he's going to have a lot of rushing touchdowns and a lot of passing touchdowns. He might not have the yardage for passing. I think he has a lot of touchdowns, though, just because the guy is going to be on the move a lot. I think teams are going to start to slack off in their coverage when he's moving around in the pocket, starting to run, things like that, and he's going to be able to find open players. Next, for defensive rookie of the year, I think we got 2 guys as well, also both NFC. Dallas Turner is my number 1 pick. I think the Vikings, they're going to have Dallas Turner's kind of running wild on the defensive line. I was surprised he fell as far as he did in the draft. But I'm excited for Dallas Turner, what he can do. You saw it in the preseason and in camp, he's going to be a beast. But Quinyon Mitchell is my underdog pick for this. Similar to what Marshawn Lattimore did when he won Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he has a similar season to that. I think if you're on the number 1 NFC team, it's going to be recognized a lot more easily. So I think he could possibly win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Then comeback player of the year, it's going to be between Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers takes the spot just because he has a better season record-wise, and I think he's going to lead the team to a higher playoff seed. So I think Aaron Rodgers wins that. Coach of the year is between D'Amico Ryans and Matt LaFleur for me. I think D'Amico Ryans, yes, they had success last season. I think they only improved this year. They got better, but he's just a great coach. You can see it in the team around him, supports him, and I love that. I think that leads him to being the top candidate. But Matt LaFleur, with a young team with the Packers, youngest receiver, one of the youngest receiver rooms at least in the NFL, Jordan Love coming in and taking over that top spot over the Lions, I think it gets him a nod and puts him in contention for it. So it'll be up to the voters to vote on D'Amico Ryans or Matt LaFleur, but I think Matt LaFleur comes in second. D'Amico Ryans comes in first and gets the head coach of the year. Anyways, guys, that'll do it for my NFL 2024 season predictions. I'm so excited for this. Next week, I'm going to be giving my picks as well as a couple other guys I think you guys will love as guests. They've been on the show before. We're going to be giving our week 1 NFL predictions. And then Sunday, I'll be going to the Saints game. I'm so hyped to see the Saints whoop the Panthers. And as usual, remember to check out our Discord, and I'll link that below. Join our Pick'em group. We'd love to have you guys in. The winner gets a jersey. And as always, check out our prior episodes on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us at Jenks Hammer Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We'll see you guys next week. I'm so hyped.